we can share with people who don't even join us. So hi everyone, good morning. So this is the Sba titration. Don't worry about the actual data because the actual data was based on the actual titration that you did. I don't know when you will get to do practical again, probably a long time from now, but you should be grateful that you did at least 1 or 2 times, well, actually more than 2 times. So don't forget that skill. Don't forget how you read the burette from top to bottom. Don't forget everything is to 1 decimal place. What you did in the lab is very important. Don't forget that when you do averaging, one of the most common mistake is most of you show the averaging step, but what you don't do is you don't show the final answer, you just write it down like that, okay? Your final average for your burette title must be to 1 decimal place. Make sure you do that. Shakila has made a very, very strange mistake here. So I'm not too sure how well it showed up on your screen because this was from a picture she sent me. You do not use 25 times 3 because every time you take out from the bottle, you pipette out 25 cm cube of Q. That is what you pipette out. What do you react with this 25 cm cube? You reacted this much from the burette. So your reaction is not between 75 cm cube of Q and 25.5, but it's between 25 cm cube of Q and however much of that thing from the burette, which is what you have done by averaging your most accurate titles. All right. So be careful about that. I really don't know. When no one asks, then you end up doing really, really funny things. She hasn't done a lot of mistakes there. She has done the correct stuff. What is wrong, however, is this thing where she used capital L for HCl. That is wrong. Should be HCl or HCl like that. And whatever you do, make sure you use bracket. Sometimes when you don't use bracket, bad things happen. When bad things happen, you lose every single thing. Here she has done the correct thing. She has divided the volume in cm cube by 1000 to convert it to dm cube. What is very wrong is Shakila is one of the very few people who keep on forgetting that N equal to CV. Your C is in mole per dm cube, which means your volume must be in dm cube. You convert cm cube to dm cube always by dividing by 1000. Here she has done this thing without the mole ratio. So perhaps she assumed it's 1:1, but then you can never assume. You should always have a balanced equation. Someone has just joined. Ashik has just joined. Okay, I'm just gonna unmute him. If you want to say something, if you want to ask something, just unmute yourself and ask straight away. Yeah, okay. So yeah, please submit your SBA. So this is part of the thing that ministry asks for. So you must be nearly done already. I mean, so just practice your calculations. Make sure you have your balanced equations, and yeah, just send them in to me as soon as possible. Okay, so work has to be submitted. Yeah. Anyway, so I'll just jump straight to ATP 3. Let me use Shakila work as example again. ATP 1, ATP 2, I already discussed it. ATP 3. So not too sure how clear it is, but she has spelled burette with B-U-R-R-E-T-E. She has spelled pipette correctly, P-I-P-E-T-T-E. I told you after ATP 1, I corrected the spelling in the class with everyone. I told you there will be no more mercy after that point. And in fact, there's no more mercy after that point because this is technical spelling. You can never spell it incorrectly. Make sure you do that. The solutions are all online already. I just want to highlight this kind of information to you. Yeah. Here in the second part of the question, they ask you why dilute sulfuric acid is needed. As you could see, the H plus is in the equation. You should have the paper in front of you. This is ATP number 3. H plus is a reactant. If you just add MnO4 minus, Fe2 plus, if there is no H plus, there will be no reaction because your equation will not happen. Balanced equation shows the reaction from left to right. It is things in the next part of the question, the color seen at the end point. You go from this deep purple, and this is colorless, but then 1 extra drop of these, because all the iron 2 plus already gone to iron 3 plus, 1 extra drop of these will not go away. and that's why the purple color, one drop of it in a large amount of water, is appear like permanent pink color. It will not be a compound, it's the ion. When you read questions, Shakila like to underline questions, but then when it's important, she always forget to underline when it's important. Be very careful when I ask for ions, you must give the formula of the ions. This is the formula of the ions, and the formula of the ions was already given in the table. And what table am I talking about? I'm talking about the table of formula, which you must master. This is manganate, bracket VII is manganese 7th, okay? And oxygen -2 there. Anyway, so reading the burette, most people have no problem. I think Adelina or a few other people have problem. Here, you should always show your average and make sure you use bracket and show your final answer with the correct units. Okay, put them in. She got 16.8, but then somehow when she did this next question, n equal to CV, she remembered divide by 1,000. Okay, you do think before you do. Think before you do rather than cancel all over the place. In the real exam, 1 person, 1 question paper, no extra. If you get extra paper, you start all over from the beginning from a new question paper, which is blank. All right, so what is going on is this is CV. So she copied down the C and she has the V, but I don't know where she gets 17.2 when the previous answer is 16.8. This kind of question really uses one step, one previous bit of the question, all right? This kind of mistake is very common. Mole ratio set up correctly, should be iron 2 plus based on the question, based on the equations. Concentration time volume in dm cube. One mistake and you will mess up everything, okay? So check your own work. Don't necessarily need to follow the answer. The solutions, okay? If you go to, if I just show you, if I go to Safari, let me see. So I'm just going to ptet.chemistry, ptet.chemistry at wordpress.com. It's not showing up. I don't know why it's not showing up. Don't know why. I think there's a nationwide. I don't know why website is not showing up now. Let me see some other thing. Okay, my website is not showing up as well. I don't know why my internet is not working now, but I hope the Zoom session is still going all right. I mean, all of you are still online, but I just can't go onto the internet, which, you know, if you go to the blog site and you go to work solutions and you can find the work solution to refer to. You also have the tutorials online to refer to. So, you know, you don't have to suffer in silence, but whatever you do, please do not try and just copy down the answers. Okay, so this is just what I've done. And we got the mole ratio. This is in 25.0 cm cube. This is your titration here. This is in the 5 tablets. A lot of students don't understand this, but draw and see. There's a reason why I always draw, because when I draw, I can see what is going on. When you just do the questions without drawing, you cannot see what is the same. From here to here, I'm just adding water. If I'm just adding acid, the mole is the same. From here to here, I'm doing my titration. I pipette out a certain bit, so concentration is the same, but this is in the 25 cm cube. So in the 250 cm cube, the number of mole is going to be 10 times bigger because I'm doing direct proportion, which is your lower secondary math. So you need to be very, very careful there. Let me just check attendance. Hazika is not around, yeah? Okay, Hazika is absent. Mumtaz has just joined. So Mumtaz has just joined, and who else is absent? Hazwan has just joined. Nabila is absent. Okay, not too surprising there. Anyway, yeah, hope everyone is doing well. So, I mean, that's what we do there. So the mole of the solid is equal to the mole of the solution. The mole of the solution is 10 times bigger based on the how many times is the volume bigger. And therefore, you just equal that to mass over MR or mass over AR. Since iron and iron 2 plus, you have just lost 2 electrons. The electrons are very light. So I hope there's no problem there. This thing is the 3 significant figure. I think Shakila has made a mistake because again, she does not underline when it's important, just like I think 1 or 2 other people. When things are important and bolded, you don't underline, then you know you're messed up. Okay, so how much of that tablet, 1.83 out of the 1.83, how much is actually ironed, and there's a percentage of iron in there. I think should be not much problem. Adelina, Adriana, and a couple of other people whom I marked for the last couple of days. For those people who actually submit in the work, I don't know, guys. I mean, yeah, I mean, this work was due 2 weeks before school closes. Now it's 3 weeks now, and still some people don't submit the work. You can check on the Google assessment mark sheet to see which work I've marked and which work I haven't marked, and see how many work you owe me. And you don't want to be owing any work when the next topic starts next week, because there's a lot of work, okay? Anyway, describe a test for carbon dioxide gas. Some people just say use lime water, but then they say describe. So when you did test for carbon dioxide in the lab, when I ask you to bubble through lime water, yes, that's what you do. You bubble the gas through lime water. What do you see? This is a proper test for gas. Test for gas is in your next topic, but it was also what you have done for your practical. Make sure that you understand that you're not just stating the reagent or the reactant that you use, but also the final result. Okay, of course, the final result is this is your lime water. Calcium hydroxide solution is going to be aqueous, and this is the gas that you bubble through the solution. All the group 2 carbonate is insoluble. I told you this in your ionic equation. Ionic equation, we did that a couple of months ago. Ionic equations, I told you there's a topic called solubility of salt in the syllabus. I told you that you're supposed to look up and copy onto your notes on your own. Group 2 carbonate is one of them. They are insoluble, milky, and white precipitate. Some students say when there's solution or whatever, but this is a solid, this is a solid, and this is a gas. You don't have water, you don't have solution, no water at all. You don't see bubbles when there's no water, because none of these contain water. They are solid and solid. Ionic compound, group 2 ion, M2 plus, CO3 2 minus. Group 2 oxide, M2 plus, O2 minus. Giant ionic structure, ionic compound. Giant ionic structure, ionic compound. Simple covalent molecule, simple molecular structure, low boiling and melting point. Okay, so this is an experiment involving masses. We do until we have no further change in mass. Just very quickly, I think most people can do this, but what is important is when you do on your calculator show you 0.16. Your calculator does not have a brain, and you need to think for yourself. These are the apparatus you use. Your apparatus measure up to 1, 2, and 3 decimal place. So it has to be 3 decimal place, because this is what you measure from using this data. You know, if you can measure using a mass balance, it will be to 3 decimal place like that, and not 2 decimal place. Mass over MR should be easy. Mole ratio, we always set out our mole ratio like this. Shakila, you can look your mark work and see how much you have messed up there. So the mole of this is equal to the mole of that. If 1 mole of MCO3 reacts, you get 1 mole of MO. So you get 1 mole of CO2. So the mole of CO2 produced is equal to the mole of MO produced. It's the same mole. Mass over MR should be no problem, but this is MO. MO contains 1 of M and 1 of oxygen. So you just work out the molar mass of the mass of, the molar mass of M, which is 24, is actually magnesium from group 2, but you will never be given periodic table in your alternative to practical paper. Just be careful, yeah? That's the end of that alternative to practical number 3. Can you just unmute yourself if you got any questions in ATP 3? Nope. Okay. ATP 4, does anyone want me to go through ATP 4? Is ATP 4 all right for everyone? Is there anything in ATP 4 you want me to go through? Can you just unmute yourself to let me know if there's anything in ATP 4 that you want me to go through? Well, if there's nothing for me to go through, then you should be able to submit your work, which I don't understand why you don't submit your work. It was only Arif and Asnawi who got the waiver not to submit any work. None of you got A in your previous test or mid-year exam, so you still have to submit work. Let's comment. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to go through the whole paper if no one got questions. Is there anything in this paper that you've got questions on? Then I go through those things specifically.
Yes. So question 3D.
Sorry, can you say that again? Which page?
Page 6, question 3D.
Page 6, question B. This one?
No, question 3B.
3B, yeah, okay. Now, obviously the mass is the easy bit. Of course, it should be 2 decimal place based on that as well. You are making up a solution. You are making out a solution. There is a follow-up work after ATP 4. The whole work is called making up a stock solution. When you want to make a stock solution, you use this thing called volumetric flux. Are you happy?
No, I mean 3D.
3D, is it? Ah, 3D. Okay, in 3D, so what you have is you have burette. So inside here is your KMNO4, Daniel and I forgot, Daniel and Shafika and Shakila would know this is the very purple solution, very, very dark purple, very dark purple. What you have in your conical flask is your Fe2 plus. And what happened is when it keep on going in there, the MnO4 minus will go to Mn2 plus. That was the equation above. Oops, they haven't shown you the equation yet, but they show you the equation. Do they show you the equation later on? No, they don't show you the equation, but as you could see in the previous ATP 3, the MnO4 minus go to Mn2 plus, the Fe2 plus go to Fe3 plus. Anyway, this is purple. This is kind of colorless actually. But then why is it permanent pink here? Because all the MnO4 minus will go to Mn2 plus as soon as it touches the Fe2 plus. What happened at the end point? At the end point, all of Fe2 plus already turned into Fe3 plus. So that means no more Fe2 plus. When you have no more Fe2 plus, if you don't have any more Fe2 plus, the MnO4 minus will not go to Mn2 plus because that is your balance equation. In the ATP 3 is the same equation. This thing reacts with the iron 2 plus, and you will get Mn2 plus and Fe3 plus. So essentially, when there's no more Fe2 plus, then the MnO4 minus is not going to go away. Then you have one extra drop of this really, really purple KMNO4. When you have one extra drop of it, it is not going to go away to this colorless thing. It will use one extra drop of it, very purple, but it will not be very deep purple here because you have a lot of water in here. You have a lot of other stuff in here. So one extra drop will just make it a pink color instead of a deep purple. If you get deep purple, you must have gone excess. So this titration, you haven't done it, but it's very, it's almost impossible to miss the endpoint because one extra drop, then it will not go colorless anymore. Eventually in the future, you will do this titration as well. If you are very interested in it, you can watch one of my experimental video tutorial on titration as part of your next topic, actually, where we will cover this again and again as part of experimental technique. Does that answer your question? Hello, does that answer your question? All right, okay. Any other question in this ATP form?
Yes.
Does people have specific question in ATP 4 that you need me to go through? Because ATP 4 is quite long. These are alternative to practical, yeah? So I was told that in the whole Brunei, they are going to scrap practical for this year and just move the alternative to practical. So that is probably a good reason for us to actually try a few more alternative to practical, but in the future, we'll actually do actual practical as well, so that to prepare you for the future, okay? Any other question you wish to ask in this ATP 4? There's no point of me going through everything because the solution is already online, okay? What I don't like is people keep on making the same mistake again and again, and that's because they don't do corrections on their work. I cannot be sitting down and doing correction with you with every single thing, okay? With the amount of work, then yeah, with the amount of work that I'm giving you, it's quite hard to keep track of everything unless you tell me specifically which one you want me to go through. Okay. So if can I get all your work in by the end of today? Because you know it's next week is a new topic already, and you've got quite a lot of time to finish already. If you don't have any questions in here, it means you must have already completed it, not by copying, but you know, you can watch the video tutorials on the playlist. Okay, let me show you what I meant by on the playlist. I wonder if this works. Okay, this doesn't work. Let me share my Safari windows. Okay, you should be able to see my Safari page. So let me type it in. So I go straight to the blog, okay? Just in case you don't know what you're looking for, check what work you have yet to submit. Click on this link. When you click on this link, you can see your mark sheet. If you can't see it, then you can go to the bottom bit. It's got 9 science, 9A, 9B. You can only view, you cannot edit. All right, so look for whatever is not submitted. So these are all the heading of the stuff. Those are your names. It's quite hard to see perhaps, but you can scroll left and right. So make sure that whatever you submit already, I will have put submitted, then I'll mark it another time. But you know, it's pretty scary when you think about how much time you've been given and how much behind you are in terms of this stuff. Yeah, so it's getting to a point where it's no longer that funny. And if you are stressed out or anything, then you gotta talk to someone. Okay, if not me, then just talk to someone. If you can't finish the work, there must be a reason, right? And this is only year 9, so it will get worse in the future if you do decide to go to A-levels or university, and what you're doing right now is just unacceptable. You will flunk your A-levels. You won't even get further. Okay. Anyway, Khalid asked me to share, to go through something. So I'll just go through that in a little bit. So here, in case you don't know how to use the blog site, yeah, I'm just worried that some people don't know how to use the blog site. I hope it's still showing the screen here. So I go to work solutions. So everything is provided for you, yeah, okay? What I don't want you to do is, I don't want you to just copy down the solution, because we know that Khalid at one point and Darwish at one point, they copied down a lot of stuff for bonding without doing the work themselves. And they suffer in the test, they suffer in mid-year exam. You do not want to repeat their mistake, yeah? So this stuff from Stats of Matter. So these are the topical playlists. If you click on it, you will go straight to that particular topical playlist. We are on formula and equations. These are the notes, the scribble notes that we use, well, that I use for my lecture tutorials. These are the question paper, and these are the marking schemes and stuff. I put up all the my solutions, and some of sample work from some of you. Put in the MCQ work. The MCQ work is very, very important, yeah, because it is how you think. No one will score very well for MCQ, trust me. None of you will be able to score 40 out of 40 unless you are very good in the subject. Alternative to practical is here. I just highlight to this thing where you can click on the YouTube topical playlist, and it will guide you straight onto the specific playlist, and yeah, everything will be there. Okay, just so you know. Now going back to the questions, because there's essentially our lessons. So yeah, let me see what Khalid asked me. So you can send me a text to ask me. It's okay if your connection is lagging, all right? How this doesn't eat a lot of data. I don't understand Khalid's message. He said 11:16. It means he just joined at 11:16. Okay, fine. So far, who am I missing then? Nope, Khalid is not in here. Don't know. Any other questions you wish for me to go through? Hazika is here. I can see Hazika. Hazika has joined a bit late. Don't know why. Any questions in ATP 4? No? Okay, fine. No question in ATP 4. Don't say I don't offer, yeah? So I will not go through this again, yeah? So the tutorial video is online. Okay, that's fine. Any question in stock solution? This is making a stock solution. Any question in stock solution? You can unmute yourself before you say anything because I can't hear anyone. Any questions in stock solution? No question at all? Stock solution is all good? Okay, so stock solution is all good, no problem. I think a lot of people, I already went through this in class, yeah? Can you make it a habit to draw simple diagrams? Because no matter how silly the diagram is, it works, okay? It works because it shows you all of these go into the solutions, so the mole must be the same. If the mole is the same, the mole of the solid equal to the mole of the solutions, then I just think about the mass of an MR, and the solution is C times V. Of course, there's a few people, Shakila especially, all her stock solution work, she forgot to convert CM cube to DM cube. And there will be no future at all if that happened ever again. All right. Any questions on making up stock solutions? So I can't go through anything unless you tell me what you want me to go through. You can unmute yourself and ask the question. There's no point of you being in this session. Oh, Hazwan just text me C part 2. Hazwan, I need the page number. C part 2, I don't understand. C part 2. Hazwan, if you're hearing this, you need to tell me the page number.
Page 4.
Page 4, C part. But page 4 doesn't have a part C. So which are you talking about? A part 2? Are you talking about this part? Okay. So this thing is about the same thing. If I have my solid, this is my solid, this is my solution. I'm making up a solution. I think Hazwan was the one who missed the actual practical class where we have to make up stock solutions. And then the other week was when I show you guys how to write the preparation strategy. Okay. You need to weigh, you need to calculate how much of the solid you need because all the solid go into the solution. So the mole of the solid equal to the mole of the solution. Work out the mass. Once you get the mass, you go to a mass balance. The apparatus you use is a mass balance. A mass balance is to weigh out the 8.50 gram of that Na2C2O4.2H2O. But here it says accurately prepare that from the weigh sample. So I do not need to weigh it again. I already have the sample. I have it there, and then I transfer the solid into a beaker if I did not weigh it in a beaker. If I weigh it, on a weighing board or on a piece of paper. Okay, so I weigh on the mass balance that much, transfer into a beaker because your beaker is dry. What is important is they want the names and the capacity of any apparatus used, the name, the capacity. What is the storage capacity? 250 cm3 beaker is quite common in the lab. So you have your solid in there. It's obviously a dry beaker. And then you put in around a little bit of distilled water. You don't want to exceed 250 because that is your maximum sample volume. Add distilled water. Importantly, use distilled water. You have to use the term distill. If you just say water, you don't get the marks because everything we do in the lab when we make stock solution, we use distilled water because tap water, if you just say water, it could be tap water. Tap water is a mixture because tap water contains dissolved chlorine, it contains dissolved ions, okay? So after that, we dissolve the solid and then we have solution. We pour this into the volumetric flask, which is the 250.0 cm3 volumetric flask. And obviously, the most important thing, and some people forget to do this, is your beaker might still have a little bit of solid. That's why when you did this in the lab as part of the practical during that afternoon, a few weeks ago, so you have to wash it with a small amount could be like 10 cm cube, 20 cm cube, give or take. And you wash it 2 or 3 times, but you wash one time, you combine it into, you pour the washing into volumetric flask. Then you wash a second time, then you pour the washing into the same volumetric flask. Then you wash a third time, and then you pour the third washing into the volumetric flask. That's what I meant by wash it with small volume of distilled water. Each time you combine the washing so that you ensure all the solid, whatever solid that didn't dissolve the first time around goes into the volumetric flask. And then obviously you need to add more distilled water until the 250 cm cube mark. I told you guys, like on the volumetric flask, which you have seen with your eye, there is a 250.0 cm cube mark. You read below the meniscus there. You have to do it drop by drop when you are close. I think I lost my, oh yeah, I have it there. When you are close to 250.0 cm cube mark, you have to add drop by drop, meaning to say when you reach very, very close, then you do drop wise, meaning to say you add drop by drop so that you won't overshoot the mark. Once you overshoot the mark, you can't take out the water because the concentration will have changed. Be very careful, yeah? The last step is the most important one. Some people forget that, yeah, okay, they make it up to 250 cm cube, but in the lab, what do? You shake the volumetric flask. After you stopper it, you shake it in order to mix well. This is the most important statement to get a solution where the concentration is uniform, you know, on the top and at the bottom. Okay, happy? Any other question in ATP 4? I mean ATP 5, sorry. This is stock solution. So any other question in the ATP? ATP 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because ATP will appear perhaps even in 2 years' time, where if COVID is still around, then you won't get to do practical paper. You might just do alternative to practical. And by the way, there's a news that if the O-level exam get cancelled, then they will use the school assess grades, meaning all your, you know, your exam scores, your test scores, not the thing you do at home, but the thing that you know, under exam conditions in school, those will be used as your final grade. Be very careful, yeah? I told you this beforehand already. I told you you have to perform to the highest standard, okay? That's why in exercise, you can do mistakes. You can make mistakes, but in the actual test, you have to minimize it. If you say there's always a next time, well, you can tell that to COVID, okay? There's always a next time. Once it happened, there will be no more next time, okay? Just be careful and think about it. So I don't care whether you do your work or not, but if you don't do your work, then you're not going to get feedback, then you can't improve for the test. And that's why, like, when I think about it, I'll let you do the test on an actual paper when you get to pick up the home learning pack. But it doesn't mean that, you know, you don't revise for the test. If you're very weak in calculation, if you're okay already, you're okay already. You have textbooks, which you have questions, and you have answers in the book as well. So you can practice it using the method that I've taught you, and using the method that we have been, you know, talking about, using mole ratio like this and setting it up, whether you have mass over MR or you have C times V, whether V is in dm cube, or you use the volume of gas over molar volume. So it's really entirely up to you how much you want to improve, and yeah, whether you believe in this school assess grade or not. It's entirely up to you, okay? But I can tell you it's reality, okay? That's what's happening right now, because all-level exams might be canceled anytime. Okay, any other question in this thing? No further questions, okay? I'll be very careful not to open up the test because I already done the solutions, but obviously I don't want you to see it. Any questions in work 6? Work 6, I remember I went through it in class already, but does anyone have any remaining question they want to ask? One thing I want to highlight is this thing, okay? A lot of you, I forgot it was 72.4 or 48.3. A lot of you, when you press your calculator, you read the incorrect significant figure. You must be able to do math, okay? These are simple math. And when I say significant figure, I think some people put down 48.2 or something. When they press their calculator, you should be able to get 48.3, not what you see, because your calculator cannot do the significant figure for you. Significant figure is your brand doing your work for you. So you need to be careful, okay? Anyway, any further questions? Can you please let me know? So we done work 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have done ATP 1, ATP 2, ATP 3, ATP 4. We have done stock solutions. And I've done MCQ 1, MCQ 2, MCQ 3. Can you tell me if there's anything in the MCQ that you want me to go through in particular? Because I realized that bonding work, for example, who was it who sent me the bonding? Like Adelina was the one who sent in this a bit late. In fact, a lot of people haven't submitted this yet. She didn't get a very good mark because we went through a long time ago and she hasn't marked her own work yet. Yeah, I did say you should mark your own work and we did go through corrections on it. And that was probably the reason why she struggled a lot for the topical tests on chemical bonding. And that was probably the main reason why she struggled a lot with the mid-year exam. Primarily because, well, you know, if you don't do corrections, if you don't mark your work, then how else are you going to improve? That's my point exactly, all right? So, you know, if you have any work that is unmarked, you think it's all right, it's fine, you know, but if I don't mark it, then you have to mark it yourself using the work solutions online. And unless, of course, I say it's a work that you have to submit, then I need to look at it and have a record so that you never know, even in the future, if we don't have a chance to do tests, then we'll just use your normal exercise marks. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, just to you know, reinforce the point that you have to submit what you finish or not. Okay, that was just asked me to go through one of the MCQ question, MCQ 3. Let me see, MCQ 3 question 25. I think I went through MCQ 3 halfway. I went through MCQ 3 halfway in class. We didn't have time to finish. That's probably what I'll do for the rest of the class. Haswan already answered. MCQ 3, question 25. So this is Darwish questions, all right? So 0.5 mole per dk HCl. So as usual, you must have a balanced equation, acid plus carbonate. I cannot tell you the importance of formula, yeah? So this is the metal salt. I mean, it's one of the most important thing of all. You get salt, carbon dioxide, and water. If you don't have the balance equation, then you will not get the mole ratio, which is 1:2. Because you always think life is just 1:1, but it's not like that. You need to have a balanced equation. Okay, you've seen this kind of mistake again and again. Do not ever make them again in the future. So let's see. You want the volume of acid, so you want this. What information do you have? You have the information on sodium carbonate. So, you know, Darwish is just setting up the mole ratio. Ultimately, you know, if you don't know how to set up this mole ratio thing, you are at loss, all right? So something I want to know, something I don't know. So I've got 2 mole of HCl and I've got 1 mole of Na2CO3 from the balance equations. That's why we don't assume it's 1:1. We always write a balance equation when it's not given to us. We are not given both information on the reactant, so we are told to find the volume of acid that's needed. This is the concentration of the acid, which means it's in mole per dm cube. So I want the volume. Looking at the answer, the volume is all in cm cube. If the answer is in cm cube, then I have to convert the volume of HCl in cm cube divided by 1,000. It's either you do this divided by 1,000. If you don't like that, I'm going to use the other format, which is volume of HCl in cm cube times 10⁻3. Some of you are not very good at pressing your calculator, yeah? I don't know why, because it is your own calculator and you should know how to use your own calculator. At the bottom, I'm also having solution, which is 0.2 mole per dm cube times 25 cm cube times 10⁻3. When I have 25 times 10⁻3, it means 25 over 1,000, because there is 25 over 10 to the power positive 3. 10 to the positive 3 is 1,000 with 30. Of course, what you must be able to do is you must be able to rearrange your equations, bring all of that up there. This is simply your math, and I can't help you in anything else. Okay, so you gotta group the number together. So I group the number together, I put it in a bracket, and it's multiplied by that. When it's multiplied, I can move it down there. So what I do is I do not do Hazika mistake, yeah? I don't show times that and then divide by that. I don't do Hazika mistake, okay? Last time Hazika made that mistake, told her to correct it. Not too sure, never heard back from her about the work. So press your calculator and you should be able to get your answer in CMQ. Is that right, Darwish? Come on, any other question in this paper one? Any other question in MCQ 3 that you want to ask? I forgot, we need to take attendance. All right, I need a voice from you, okay? When I call out your name, you reply, okay? Unmute yourself and reply. We're just checking if everyone is actually present. Hazika, are you present?
Yes.
Hazika? Hi, Hazika, are you present?
Yes.
Darwish?
Yes.
Adlina? Adlina?
Yes.
Daniel?
Yes.
Yes.
Mumtaz?
Yes.
Mumtaz? Mumtaz?
Yes.
Asnawi?
Yes.
Andriana?
Yes.
Naima?
Yes.
Shafika?
Yes.
Sahina?
Yes.
Kahina? Shakila?
Yes. Yes.
Shrin?
Yes.
Shirin? Okay. Who else? Lukman?
Yes.
Izan?
Yes.
Hilmi? Hilmi?
Yeah.
Hazwan?
Yes. Yes.
Did I say Ashik already?
No.
Oh, Ashik, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Arif doesn't have a mic on, so perhaps he can't join. It's all right. Don't worry. Okay. So I think everyone is present except for, I know Nasmin has problem with connectivity. That is okay. But then, so yeah, it's just our good friend and who is absent. Anyway, so I don't want to drag this on and on. Yeah, do you want to, oh, Naima just texted me, question 28 and question 29. So you can unmute yourself and ask whenever you have anything to ask, yeah? Okay, in this last 10 type of questions, this is not a typical O-level type of questions, but they can make it as, you know, read the option, read the statement. So it's not the first time you've seen this kind of question, right? In previous MCQs, you got to read the statements and think about what is correct as well. So 28 and 29, let me check that again. 28 and 29, that's what Naima asked. All right, 28. These kind of questions are pretty long, all right? So let's check one by one. If I check number 1 first, so this is talking about volume. This volume is not solution because carbon dioxide is a gas. So I have excess of HCl, so I don't use HCl because HCl is in excess, all right? But then this is the mole of sodium carbonate. So work with mole, do not convert to mass anymore, just work with the mole. So the mole of carbon dioxide is to the mole of Na2CO3. From the balance equation, 1 mole of CO2 from 1 mole of Na2CO3. At the bottom, the mole of Na2CO3 is 0.025. On top, I have volume of CO2 is to 24 dm cube. But then they want us in cm cube here. So I should use 24,000 because I know the molar volume of gas could be 24,000 cm cube per mole. As Mumtaz will tell you, is the volume of the gas for 1 mole of any gas. This is also equal to 24 dm cube per mole of a gas. But I use 24,000 there because I want the volume in cm cube. Obviously, then you gotta be able to set out your equation like this, yeah. For Sorry, I got disconnected, so I'm back online again. Can everyone see my screen again?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, just to answer,
Yes.
just to answer Lukman's question, the SBA titration work, the SBA titration work is basically the titration from that afternoon, the one that you did the actual titration, the accurate titration thing. Okay, the acid-base titration. You must be nearly finished with it already. I just need a photo of your final calculations and that second page, that's all. Okay, okay, Lukman? Don't know, not sure Lukman is still with me or not. Is that okay, Lukman?
Yes, sir.
All right, okay. So continuing this bit, so I was just here, the volume of CO2, when you rearrange your equation, you bring that up. So volume of CO2 divided by 24,000 is going to be equal to 0.025. I've just swapped their position around because our unknown, usually we say something is equal to something, right? So just bring out the 24,000 is going to be multiplied by 0.025, and I think you will get 600 cm3, which means 1 is definitely correct. You do the same thing for the second one. So second one is to do with volume of the hydrochloric acid. Of course, we know this is in excess, but we want to know what is the volume that is needed to exactly neutralize it. So the volume of the HCl over the mole of the mole of HCl is to the mole of sodium carbonate. I have 2 mole of HCl, 1 mole of sodium carbonate. I have a volume, which I don't know, but this is in cm3, so I do not forget my mistake. I do times 10 to the minus 3, or I do divide by 1,000, and I multiply that by 0.2 mole per dm3. At the bottom, I have 0.025. Bring that up, then hopefully you can see the volume of HCl times 10 to the minus 3 times 0.2 is equal to 2 times 0.025. I'm going to do not Hazika mistake now. Okay, I should be able to do this in one step. If you can see it, bring it down straight away. If you can't see it, that's what I'm doing right here. I put this in the bracket because these are numbers and they are multiplied. So when I move it to the other side, they become divide. Use bracket. Do not be lazy and use bracket. Okay, so always use bracket. And when you do that, Naima, you should be able to get 250 cm3. So what I got is volume of HCl equal to 250 cm3. Right, so 2 is correct. How about number 3? This is asking on the mass of sodium chloride. Sodium chloride with the mole of Na2CO3 is going to be 2:1. So you do the exact same thing, 2:1, and then you want the mass. So it's mass of NaCl divided by the MR, so it's 23 plus 35.5, there's 58.5. At the bottom there is going to be 0.025. So if you do it in one step, which I can, I move up that thing. So 58.5 equal to 0.025 times 2. So the mass of NaCl is equal to 58.5 multiplied by 0.025 times 2. I get 2.925. Oh, wait, hang on. That is not correct because this is 1 point something. This is 2 point something. Okay, if 1 and 2 are correct only, so there must be option B. Same thing for question 2. But what is important here is this is excess, so you don't want to use that. What can I say? I think there's something important for this question. You should use the relative atomic mass of zinc as 65.4. This will give you a better answer. Rather than using 65, you should use 65.4, and hopefully you will be able to understand this better. Okay, is it okay if I skip this question, Naima, or do you want me to go through specifically?
It's okay.
Okay, you just gotta be able to, work through this thing. So your job really is find out the mass of zinc. So meaning to say 0.050 mole of zinc chloride. So the mole of zinc chloride is to the mole of zinc. It's like 1:1. So 0.050. You have mass of 65.4. So I bring that up, and you should be able to bring up that thing, which is 65.4 times 0.050, and so on and so forth. Okay, any other question, people? I still have 15 more minutes. Anyone has any other question? when I say when you do this kind of MCQ, you should really show your working. It's because I know what people will do when they're desperate. They'll just write down the answer because they feel they have to submit the work, okay? I give you all those times and all those techniques, not for you to just write down the answer like that, okay? It's important to know how to get to the answer. Doing MCQ is like solving a puzzle, yeah? Make sure you learn the skill and you apply the same techniques to your other MCQ and you will be okay. If you can't, then unfortunately you will struggle in the other subject that have MCQ as well. All right, so I don't know. I mean, if you submit your work to me, then I'll mark them. But yeah, you've got to submit your work, okay? I'll show this again. Where was it just now? My Safari. So my Safari just now, if you go to click on this link, and then you will see this is not a name or name and shame time, yeah. But I just want to highlight the fact that where is it not opening up? I just want to highlight the fact that a lot of you have not been submitting work consistently. Yeah, like there are some works that are missing. Like Mumtaz has got that and that missing from April and March. So you know, it is the last bit of work. These are all the MOLs, MCQs, analysis and evaluation, all these ATPs, stock solution. The Sba Titration was from that afternoon, 3 Saturdays ago. And it was on a Thursday for those people who repeated the titrations because they couldn't make the first Saturday titration. And the Sba states of matter, you also kind of need to submit that at some point. It's for the ministry. I did say by the end of August, and I did say this thing titration by Saturday last time, yeah? So, I mean, if you care about what the ministry thinks of you, then submit it. If you don't, then you just get 0. But for the rest of my work, those are school assessed work. And if exams do get cancelled, guess what? Those are your marks. And if Cambridge do cancel all-level exams, most likely I wouldn't use your exercise mark because this is not lower secondary. I'll use your topical test marks because topical test is done quite seriously. You have the chance to do corrections in your normal exercise so that you won't be repeating the same thing in your topical test, and will also be averaging in your marks from the mid-year exam or your progress test. If you say it's progress test, you didn't concentrate or whatever, then you get bad marks. Oh, well, tough luck. There's going to be a final all-level grade. Okay, if exams do get cancelled. Any other questions in MCQ 1, 2, or 3? In any other work, I can go through anything. If not, then we'll just call it a day. So feel free to leave the session. I'll share the recorded session later. I've taken attendance. Only Nabila is absent. Nazmin can't join us. But if you got questions, then ask. But this thing which I'm showing you on the screen, yeah, I mean, you can see this via the link. You can tell which work you have submitted or which work you have yet to submit. Yeah, the one in red are basically the one that you haven't submitted. And if you scroll to the far left, you can see Nabila has all me work since balancing equations. Can I just remind you that this topic doesn't just involve calculations, they involve formulas, which means you must know your formula of ions, then you get the correct formula, then you know the general 5 formulas. They are general equations, there are 5 of them. There's millions of equations you can write once you know the 5 general equations, like acid plus base, acid plus carbonate, metal plus water, metal plus acid, and the other one is ammonium ion plus hydroxide. Finish out your work. Next Saturday, we'll start a new lesson. Okay, so we'll just end the class here. And unless you got questions, then you stay behind. Otherwise, feel free to leave the Zoom session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So you don't have to stay. You can just quit. We've done attendance. We finished everything. So you only stay if you got questions to ask me.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So you can submit your work via pictures, send through email or send through WhatsApp. But yeah, get them in little by little, please. Don't wait until you compile everything.